industry finally gets educational.
This has something to do with the internet, doesn't it?
Be large.
In the beginning,
Large.
America was a raw land of forests from which homes could be built and people kept warm, of rivers and lakes which could be traversed for exploration,
Then dammed to make
and of soil which could be cultivated for food and dug into for mineral wealth.
I can dig it.
Such were the natural resources with which we started as a nation less than 200 years ago.
all gone now.
In this relatively short portion of civilized time, we have become the most extensively developed industrial
For
nation
like
in the
20
world.
more years.
Our people have accomplished this because of several important factors. They learned to use machines to relieve human drudgery.
Didn't Al Gore invent science?
They were ambitious to work and save money and invest in businesses. Their methods resulted in the most things for the most people, the highest standard of living of any nation.
Provided you like smog,
Since
I
earliest
guess.
times, our people have always wanted and needed a lot of things, just like they do today.
These 1,000-year-old glasses prove
And
my
people
point.
were anxious to go into business and make something to satisfy human wants and needs.
You need an organ? I thought so.
But making things slowly by hand, like this old clock was made, wasn't fast enough.
Get it?
The need for a better method was apparent.
And the workman was never alienated by
Before
his job.
1798, guns were all slowly handmade, one at a time. And it was rarely that any of the parts would fit any other similar gun.
You can kill thousands at once.
In those days, large quantities of muskets were urgently needed by our young government.
To keep the damn Canadians in their place.
Eli Whitney, the inventor, realized that large quantities of each of the parts should be made all exactly alike.
The key to profit,
So he contracted
conforming to the
produce
standard.
in that manner and quickly assembled 10,000 muskets like this one. The parts of all of them fit and were interchangeable. Whitney's method established a pattern for mass production.
Look, it's a gun.
Our first industries had grown up from simple beginnings. Early settlers used the natural resource of water power to run grist mills and sawmills.
This is just
Soon
a shack
larger
with
mills and
leaky
factories were built
plumbing.
along the riverbanks, all using flowing water for their power. There was one great disadvantage. The power could be used only as far away as belts could reach from the water wheel.
But then the water wheel.
Steam engines to run factory machines were a step in developing industries. But steam power was also limited for a time to use at only one location.
This whole machine is just used to power Howard Hughes's
But
ego.
Thomas A. Edison designed the first central electric generating plant using steam to create electric power and send it out to users as far as a mile away.
Those more than a mile away learn to
Today,
harvest
large
the energy
quantities
it
of
takes,
electric power are created in central steam generating plants
all powering the porn industry.
and by falling
Huh.
water at hydroelectric powerhouses. The power is now sent out long distances to turn the machines in thousands of manufacturing plants in all parts of the nation.
My job is
With
so
plenty of power
rewarding.
available, our processing plants, mills, and factories now turn out quickly and in large quantities the thousands of things that people need and use.
Things like back massagers and adult
Our
toys.
system of manufacturing and assembly follows that pioneered by Eli Whitney. For example, this modern machine contains many parts, and each part is produced in large quantities, all precise in size and shape.
But does it have Bluetooth?
Thus, the assembly of many complete machines is simplified.
And the accordion is complete.
Our automotive industry, building cars and trucks by the millions each year, is typical of how mass production has developed to a highly efficient system.
I don't see what could possibly go wrong.
Our first cars and trucks, produced in the early part of this century, were all practically handmade.
They sicken me.
Based on the value of money at the time, They were very expensive, and only a few people could have them.
Before the Uber was invented.
Achieving speeds of up to 3 miles per hour. Sadly, this is the only car hipsters will drive these days.
This counted as a car chase back then.
Henry Ford's first car was mostly a handmade job, created one piece at a time. But Ford soon started a production line, assembling cars faster from quantities of all the parts on hand.
Where did he put the toaster ovens?
Not all the parts in
A
existence,
modern
just the
assembly
ones for
line
cars.
draws on other factories and many sections of the nation for the multitude of parts of a car or truck. The engine itself contains many parts, and these parts come from several other manufacturing plants.
All leading to
Many farmers
thousands
are
of
growing
wasted
cotton, and
lives.
some of it will make the cords in the tires.
Or be used to fill airbags.
Elsewhere, a petroleum refinery is producing the basic material which goes into the paint.
So this is the pinnacle of human
Another plant is turning out
civilization,
miles of
huh?
copper wire,
Hey,
a
we
great
also
deal of
make
which will be
cool
wound
things
into
like
generators
boring.
and starters.
More will be used to fill up the nation's junk drawers.
Out of the processes, in another factory, comes the glass for windows and doors. In other plants, machine tools that perform many operations turn out huge quantities of the nuts and bolts that will hold the other parts together.
Again, what a rich life he must lead.
Engines and other parts are joined onto the frames on an assembly line until finally, complete cars emerge.
I'm ready for my close-up.
The first Indy 500 was so
Thus,
boring.
the cars and trucks represent a cross-section of American industry.
This is pretty much the climax.
The circle of
today's
production
show.
widens as many large and small suppliers depend upon each other and contribute to the whole finished product.
Yet we still can't find a way to make this crap interesting to watch.
Mass production and mass distribution of the products of industry were able to advance because of our outstanding transportation system, which developed alongside of the nationwide spread of manufacturing. At the time when muskets and cast iron plows were shipped out west by wagon, the pace was too slow for American industry.
Yeah, how much
Early
drag
canals
racing usually
served for a time, but their areas of service were limited. Railroads finally spanned the continent and were a great impetus to trade.
And when have cargo trains ever annoyed anyone?
Then a network of good highways brought farms and raw material resources and industries still closer together and enabled them to work together.
Oh, cripes, a bridge over the river Styx.
We are
is busy
using our
today.
rails, our waterways, highways, and airplane runways at their full capacity. The foods and fibers and manufactured goods of America are increasingly on the move, and our industries constantly widen. Americans live under a political system conducive to ambition and progress. This helps our industries to expand and advance.
So as long as our political system doesn't break down, we're golden.
Our great leaders of government have all realized the need of encouraging and protecting the efforts of
Hey
individuals.
guys, check out that dame in the miniskirt down there. Oh, Abe,
So
you're
our scientists
incorrigible.
and inventors have the incentive to keep finding new ways to make use of our resources of raw materials. They think of new products to make and improvements on the familiar ones.
The first iPods were
They
ungainly,
constantly
man.
improve the tools and methods of manufacturing to produce useful goods easier and of better quality.
Someday updates from Microsoft
In
will
such
reverse
ways,
it. But
Americans
for now,
make this country a
huzzah for
land of
industry.
plenty.
Plenty of nothing, I guess.
The end of being rewarded